My name is Jill Kingsfield. I'm the Assistant Superintendent for Teaching and Learning at District 89 in Glen Ellen, Illinois. When I work with principals and using data, generally it's surrounding their school improvement plans. So we're looking at reading and math achievement data, but also looking at attendance data as that can impact achievement. And so when we meet and we have a yearly data retreat that we do where we develop our school improvement plans. So that's the big focus. But then after each testing window, fall, winter, and spring, that's when we're digging more deeply into the data to learn where our students are at, where are we seeing growth, where are we not seeing growth, and determine what our next steps are going to be. At the district level or the administrative level, at the building level, we have all of these pieces of data that we have to put together to understand our students. And so to have Frontline as a resource, it's kind of one-stop shopping as much as possible to be able to drill down into the different data sets so that we can determine what our next steps are going to be and use that to drive our decision-making and our school improvement and district improvement plans. I can jump into the dashboard and there are various pre-built queries where I can go in. I can also work with Frontline if there's a particular need or a dashboard that I need. It's been great working with Frontline to be able to drill down into the data that we need for determining interventions for students, accelerated programming for students that might have already tackled the standards and may need more of a push ahead. Oh gosh, to humanize the data is so important because behind every data set there is a little face. And at where I'm at now, working with elementary kiddos, it's different. Prior to this, I was at the high school level, but still there's a face behind that data and a set of needs that we need to try to match. So a story that I can share with you is looking at our school improvement data in relation to our students who receive special education services and having that at our special education director or director of student services fingertips to be able to determine staffing needs. Do we need, more social emotional assistance because we do track social emotional data within Frontline as one of our data points. So that has helped us bridge that gap for our students with IEPs. Therefore, this past year, we saw some great progress with our students who have IEPs in relation to math and reading achievement, just because we're kind of able to pinpoint where their needs are. I would say the results that we've seen qualitatively are the conversations that we're having around data. The quantitative piece is exciting and it's so tactile and the numbers are the numbers. However, the conversations around that data is what is so critical in helping moving systems forward and determining what we need to shift. So being able to have the results and be able to have benchmark times where we're looking at those results along the way instead of just at the end of, an April testing window, and then we get the results back in July, this makes the data more actionable. In the past, when we were pulling data together to determine our strategies and our school improvement goals, we had to pull from multiple data sources. So whether that was, a universal screener assessment that we use, attendance data out of our student management system, and then other databases that we would have. It was such a time-consuming project to go into each of those different databases, download the spreadsheets, and then create graphs or whatever the intended goal was. Was it for a board presentation? Was it for a data retreat? Was it working with, a grade level team? Now all of those pieces are together. And so we can create reports and pull all of those pieces in under one umbrella instead of having to go. So I liken it to trying to drive one car, but having 4 different dashboards. And that would be pretty tricky to drive a car down the street with 4 different dashboards. It would be insurmountable challenge, I think, if you could pull that off. And very time consuming. So we've mended that by being able to use Frontline and like I said, one-stop shopping to have as much of our data as possible in one spot to be able to pull different queries.